What is up everyone, and welcome to some F1 23 My Team Career Mode. For the first time I am here, finally. I am back from my holiday in Denmark just a few days after this game has dropped, and I am excited to bring you another story in the saga of Jaguar Racing. We did 7 full 22 race seasons last time out. And in this game, we are going to be doing hopefully at least the same, if not a little bit more, maybe even up to 10 seasons. You saw my driver there, and we are once again going to be continuing under the Jaguar Racing name. We have to sign a sponsor, we have to sign an engine supplier, and we have to sign a teammate as well, and those are the 3 things we are going to be doing right here and now. Last season, I believe that our first goal was to get 2 points finishes during the season. We just about managed to scrape that, and I've heard that this game supposedly is slightly easier than last year's game in terms of your ability to race with the AI. So I am going with Xenon Dynamics, and the goal is going to be to finish 8th or better in the Constructors' Championship. I think we can do it, but I will be very excited to see what we are capable of doing. Power unit supplier wise, there's one team I usually go with first, and that is simply because they are the cheapest option, and we are going to be doing much the same this time around. We might switch to Mercedes later, but for the time being we are going to be going with Renault E-Tech. And finally, we have to sign a teammate. I know exactly who I want, but we have to see whether he's available or not. And from these options, it is not looking good. We will look through to see if he's there or not, but unfortunately, I think my main man, Dennis Hauger, is not available at the moment. So yeah, we might have to wait a little bit longer before we are able to sign him. But we have some good options, including some former teammates of ours in Porsche and Fittipaldi. And in the end, I am going to go for a fan favorite previous teammate of mine, Enzo Fittipaldi. He is one of my favorite teammates I've ever had in my team career mode, and I am excited to welcome him back for at least a season, hopefully here in my team career mode. We've got a few settings enabled, including reduced income and acclaim gain and all those kind of things for our team, and obviously boosted, buffed, all of those factors for the AI as well. So it'll be very interesting. But now we are going to get into the intro cutscene. I'm going to be handing over to Natalie Pinkham.
New year, new drivers, new team. Welcome, and great to have you with us as we move far away from the paddock to the headquarters of the newest outfit on the Formula One grid. We've been granted exclusive access with an interview not just with the team owner or the star driver, but both. Because for the first time in modern F1 history, the team owner is behind the wheel themselves. Now is a great time to bring a new team into the sport, particularly off the back of such compelling competition last year. 2022 saw huge regulation changes, and it was Red Bull who came out on top in the development race. But that was last year. This year could be a very different story. Let me tell you, this facility is an absolute hive of activity, and there is a palpable sense of excitement around the car they've built. Quietly, they truly believe they can challenge at the top, and they've had the time now to craft a hugely competitive race car. But theory is one thing, and taking on the brightest lights in motorsport is quite another. So how does the owner of F1's 11th team feel as they prepare to be thrust into the limelight of the F1 circus? New driver lineups, Qatar returns, Las Vegas debuts, and the engineering race continues to push the sport and the drivers to new heights. What are they aiming for? Most excited about? Most nervous for? Well, soon we will meet them to find out. But first, let's take a look at the brand new car.
Here she is, our first car on F1 23, the Jaguar Racing car. And yeah, we have gone for the usual color scheme that we have gone for in previous years. We've got the black and green with a hint of gold thrown in there, and I'm very excited.
Thank you so much for having us. Great to be here. I'm going to start with the question that everyone is asking. It's been a long time since we've seen a team owner drive their own car, And a lot's changed since then. The sport has really evolved. So how are you going to manage the responsibility of doing both roles? And tell me about your teammate. They're clearly very excited to have signed with you. What do they bring to the team? So tell me about the work on the car. It's clearly a blank canvas. You've done a lot. What have you prioritised? Now, there's no getting away from the fact that your competitors have a huge amount of Formula One experience. You are a total newcomer. Tell us where you see the opportunities to make those vital performance gains. Now, ultimately, your success this season will be determined by whether you can take positions from other drivers. Where do you believe this car has the edge? And with so many disciplines and experts working so closely together here at your HQ, who gets the coveted Teacher's Gold Star? Who are you most proud of as the first race edges ever closer? Well, I could talk to you all day. Thank you so much for your time, but I better let you get back to work. There's plenty more still to do. All the very best for your inaugural F1 season.
Well, there we go. You can see that I gave a balanced set of answers to the questions that they were asking about the departments. We focused a little bit more on the aero than anything else, but I'd like to say that it was a pretty balanced overall view on what the team is going to be like, and I'm hoping that will hopefully give us a few development boosts going into the first race of the season, which is of course going to be Bahrain. We currently are the worst car on the grid, just behind AlphaTauri and McLaren, Alfa Romeo, Williams, Haas, all of these guys very close together, Alpine just ahead, and then Mercedes, Aston Martin, Ferrari and Red Bull a long way ahead. So there's going to be a clear top 8, but I think on occasion we might be able to break into the fringes of the points, and that is going to start right here with the development of the car. We're going to get a few upgrades on the car, starting with an air upgrade and a durability upgrade. You might think it is weird that we're going to go for a durability upgrade, but if you have watched any of my videos before, will know that we have had some shocking reliability in previous seasons. And the best way to get on top of that, especially when using the Renault power unit, is to try and go for as many power unit upgrades as you possibly can. I am expecting at least 6 DNFs over the course of this season, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. We give a bit of a boost to the pace of Fittipaldi. We've already put him through a driver training camp as well, so hopefully he's going to be quite fast. Might not finish last in the first race of the season, but then after that I'm sure that he'll probably start to slide down the order in terms of his performance. We also have a marketing event as well, which you can see is about driver merchandise. I always go for the most expensive option here. The faster that we can get our acclaim up, the faster that we can get our cash up, and the faster that we can start improving our car and our facilities. So yeah, that is pretty straightforward. We're going to try and sneak on one more upgrade if we can in the aero department. I think apart from that, our departments are basically at capacity. We'll see when we get into practice if we can get some resource points. But now it is time, finally, after about 10 minutes of onboarding and getting into this career mode, we are going to be going to the race weekend proper for the Bahrain Grand Prix. And let me tell you, I am very excited. I love starting out at this track. I think it is a very balanced track. Gives you a good idea of where your car is overall, and yeah, I'm really excited to see what we're capable of doing. We get a bit of an introduction here from Francisco, who is the head of R&D, he says, and yeah, we're gonna be getting into the actual driving action shortly. I won't be showing you any practice. If you haven't watched my videos before, the way the format usually goes is that we usually skim over practice and I just show you the result. I give you any comments about that. We do a few sort of highlights of what happened in qualifying, show you sort of the end of my runs, and if I have a particularly good run, then maybe I'll show you a bit more of it, and then I'll show you the race proper as well. So yeah, that's the usual format of things. The difficulty, for those of you who are curious, I did not start on 88, which is where I finished in my previous season. We're actually starting at 95, and this is because, having started a few days late, I was tipped off by a few people that the AI wasn't quite as good this year. So we're starting out at 95, and we're going to see where we are in comparison to the rest of the cars around us. But yeah, practice has been and gone, and you can see that we finished P5, which was a lot better than I was expecting, actually, ahead of both Aston Martins and one of the Red Bulls and the Mercedes of George Russell. Now, of course, he is on the hard compound tyre, but still, we're looking pretty hot to trot out of practice. You know, if we can convert that pace into qualifying, then maybe we could be looking at a Q3 appearance in our first race of the season. But yeah, that was looking pretty strong. Typically, my qualifying is always better than my race pace, so I'm hoping that we can qualify up the order and then try and hold on to some positions if we can. It'd be amazing to score points in the team's first race of the season, but I don't see it happening. You know, we are comfortably the worst car on the grid at the moment. We're going to try and get some upgrades on the car now. I think we set one upgrade to happen there. I think it was a chassis upgrade, if I remember correctly. Thought about maybe doing a power unit upgrade, but I've decided against it for now. We're going to try and save that for some upgrades on some other things if we can. And yeah, now it is going to be time for us to get into the qualifying, and this is going to be a pivotal session. I think the target here has got to be Q2. I think if we can get through to Q2, maybe even with both cars, then that would be absolutely brilliant. I think anything beyond that will be very impressive. You know, if I qualify in 16th, then I will be pretty happy with that. And yeah, we'll see what Fittipaldi, my teammate, can do as well, as you finally get to see me out on track. Now, I am going to attempt, and I may go back on this for the time being, but for this first race of the season at least, I'm going to attempt driving on medium traction control. So if you see me having a few more moments than I usually do, it is because this is the first time that I have played the game on anything less than full traction control. You can see I got a bit of a wobble in some of those corners, and that is just because I am currently learning how to fight the car. We did a 1:33.7 to kick things off, not particularly fast, but we managed to find a bit of improvement on our second flying lap, about a second, and across the line it's a 1:32.6. And is it good enough to get us through to Q2? Yes, in P16. And thank goodness for that, because yeah, we managed to get one of us through in the end to Q2, which is what I wanted to see. We knock Bottas out, and he falls into the drop zone along with Hulkenberg, De Vries, both Williams, and my teammate Fittipaldi will be starting at the back in his first Formula 1 race. But it's okay. It just means that the only way is up for him, and I'm sure that he will deliver on that as we progress through this career mode. But yes, for the time being, not a fantastic result for him. I was hoping that he would at least maybe be ahead of the Williamses. Not to be, unfortunately, and now we are going to get into Q2 and see if we can do anything, maybe try and challenge for Q3, who knows. But as we come out now on our first flying lap, it's another 1:33.3 this time, and yeah, we're going to need a lot of improvement on that. I think no less than a second, I think, improvement we will need if we want to make it through to Q3. You know, the top guys are doing 1:30s, which I am nowhere near. And as we come through the final corner, you can see I'm struggling to hold on to it a little bit, but I didn't do a terrible lap. I'm 8.5 tenths up. We got one more corner, but I had to fight the car a little bit there to be on the line. And that's going to cost us a little bit of time, so I think we're going to be about 9 tenths up, hopefully, as we come up to the line. And as we now cross the line, it is a 1:32.3, and that is good enough for P14. So not a terrible qualifying. I think I'm happy overall with that result, but yeah, we hopefully will be able to find some improvement in some ensuing qualifying sessions over the course of the season. You know, I want to be getting some Q3 appearances here and there. You can see no real surprises apart from maybe Oscar Piastri getting through over Esteban Ocon. That's not perhaps what you would expect. We did out-qualify Lando Norris, who is a particularly fast customer, so I'm pretty happy with that. But alongside us, it is Ocon, Tsunoda, Magnussen, and Joe and Norris. who have been eliminated here in Q2. And yeah, that is going to mean that I'm going to be starting alongside one of my favourite drivers, one of my heroes, Kevin Magnussen. I'm sure those of you who watch my Twitch streams or have seen my social media, you know how much I am a fan of Kevin Magnussen. And in my first race in Formula 1, I'm going to be starting alongside him. So it's going to be interesting to see what we can do. And yeah, we are now going to get ready to move forward. Before that, we got a few acclaim boosts coming up. You know, getting through to Q2 in our first race of the season, not too shabby. And hopefully we can build on that, maybe challenge on the fringes of the points. But I mean, with how much I was struggling currently with the sliding and everything, it is going to be a big ask to get into that position where we're going to be able to. We're going to be able to challenge for the points. You know, I think if we can hold on to sort of P14, P13, then that would be the ideal scenario. But yeah, we'll see as well whether Fittipaldi can move forward. I'm hoping that he can have a good race too. And other than that, we're just gonna go out there, try and enjoy ourselves, and see what we can do as we get into the Bahrain Grand Prix.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal. And it's make or break here at round one of this year's Formula One World Championship. Formula One returns to the desert today and this exceptional 3.36 mile circuit. 15 corners provide plenty of overtaking opportunities, and it could be a strategic race, this one, with Sakir notorious for eating up the rear tyres. Watch out for drivers managing their rubber at some point during the Grand Prix. The race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole, edging out Max Verstappen, who will start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Sainz, Russell, Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Ocon, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Robinson, Joe, Norris, Bottas, Hulkenberg, De Vries, Sargent, Albon, Sargent. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. I'm joined by Anthony Davidson at the start of a new season, and it is a clean slate. Absolutely anything is possible right now.
We're into those tense few minutes before the first race then. Everyone's a little bit nervous about reliability. They haven't been running in the hot, turbulent wake of other cars in practice, and they've not been pushing at 100% for long durations. Let's hope no one has to deal with any nasty surprises.
Right, so that is the introduction to the first race. You can see that is Leclerc leading Verstappen away from pole position. We're going to be going on a personalised strategy because I'm currently struggling with the traction and with the sliding a little bit on this medium traction control. We are wearing the tyres out a little bit faster than projected, so we're going to be stopping a lap early and going onto those hard compound tyres on lap 13. But yeah, we are going to see if I can hopefully use the new controls to try and reach a level of optimal RPM. I'm not quite sure where it is. It's about 4 of the chevrons on the accelerator trace, I would say, is probably the best way I can describe it. And yeah, we'll see if I can start to get a hold on this. You know, I'm using these linearity settings to good effect at the moment. I haven't quite mastered it with the steering yet. I think I need to watch some tutorials and stuff like that, so I'm still bedding in. I do want to try and play the game on at least medium traction control, because a lot of you did bemoan the fact that I played on full traction control and it made it a little bit trivial at times. But yeah, we'll see what we're capable of doing. But anyway, enough about the traction as the lights come on. And the lights go out as we switch to the replay camera for our first lap in F1 23. And we've gotten away decently well, and we are already challenging Magnussen down into turn 1. And actually, we're going to be on the inside here. It's 4 wide between myself, Tsunoda, and a few other cars. We get squeezed to the middle, and we have to back out a little bit, and that's actually going to cost us a few positions. We lose out to Zhou Guanyu and Lando Norris there, and I think we're currently in about P14 or P15. Not quite sure at the moment, but we're coming under pressure here from Logan Sargent as well in the Williams. He's on the soft compound tyres where everyone else is on the mediums, and Sargent actually squeezing a move there on Lando Norris as well, and you can see that I'm currently leading Sargent for P14, but him on the soft compound tyres, I think he's going to try and mount a challenge on me if he can, but we're going to try and sneak up the inside of Zhou Guanyu for P13 there if we can, and yeah, we've made our way into P13 in this race, having started P14, so we're looking pretty good, but I'm struggling quite a lot with the traction. You can see that the back end is stepping out all over the place there. That is going to give us a bad run on the exit of turn 10, and that is going to allow Logan Sargent into the fight. He's had a brilliant start on those soft compound tyres, and actually Joe is going to try and sneak up the inside as well, and we actually go out a little bit wide, and that is going to allow Lando Norris to go around our outside as well, so we lose 3 positions there, and we are down into P16 off the beginning of this race, and now we are coming under pressure from Nico Hulkenberg here in P17, so this is a fight for P16 between myself and Hulkenberg, and I think he is going to try and challenge me into the final couple of corners. He goes up the inside. Is he going to be able to get ahead of us here? I don't know who's going to be ahead. He's thinking about going for a move, and we're going to be wheel to wheel, and I think it's actually Hulkenberg who's going to win out. We're going to see as we go on the run down to turn 1 who has the superior traction. Is it going to be me? Is it going to be him? I'm going to have to tuck in behind him for the time being, but maybe I can try and size up a move on him. But no, we get boxed in by Valtteri Bottas, who is now challenging us up the inside, and yeah, it seems like this car does not have tremendous race pace, coupled with the fact that I'm still getting to grips with playing the game. It is going to be a difficult one for us, but now as we finally get on track properly, you can see that at the end of lap 2 Valtteri Bottas gets a much better exit from turn 13 than we do, and that is going to allow him to move into P17, and we have fallen all the way down to P18. We're back alongside Kevin Magnussen, who we started the race alongside. He fell all the way down to P19 off the start of the race, and now me and him are reunited once again, 5 or 6 positions further down than we started the race in. So yeah, not a great start for either of us. And now as we move on to lap 13, we're going to see if we can potentially challenge Bottas up the inside here at the hairpin, and as we come on the run down to this tricky left-hand braking zone, you can see that we are going wheel to wheel between myself and Bottas here, and I don't know who's going to win out. We got a bit of a spin there, but it seems like we're still going to be wheel to wheel with him as we try and get around him if we can. We're going to try and go around the outside here, but no, he squeezes us out. We break a little bit early, and actually Kevin Magnussen decides to try his luck there as well, and actually manages to make the move stick, and he's up into P18, so both me and him now 5 positions down on where we begun the race. Him in P18, me in P19, and it's been an awful start for us, all things considered, but I'm still betting into the game, and this is to be expected, I would imagine, in this scenario, especially on 95 AI. We're now being challenged by De Vries as well, and even our teammate Fittipaldi wants to get involved, but who is going to come out on top here? It's not clear whether it's going to be myself or whether it's going to be Fittipaldi, but we do manage to hold him off for the time being. So he's in P21 and we're in P20, and we're going to see if we can stick to the back of De Vries with the DRS to see if we can get back past him and back up into P19. But meanwhile, we're looking at Kevin Magnussen here. He's just behind Sargent and Bottas, but he is not going to be overtaking them because he is going to become the first retirement of this F1 23 My Team career mode. And yeah, very disappointing for him. Having had a pretty poor start, he was running down in P18, having started P13, he is now out of this race, and yeah, that is disappointment for him, disappointment for me, who's a fan of him. I was looking forward to maybe racing him later in the race when I got a little bit more in tune with how the car is performing, but we are going to try and go up the inside of De Vries now into turn 1. We give him enough room, and we squeeze him out, and actually Fittipaldi says, well, since you're going, I'm going too, and De Vries loses 2 positions in one corner, and that is absolutely devastating for him. And yeah, that is going to see Fittipaldi up into P19, myself up into P18, and maybe we can set off after Logan Sargent in P17 on those soft compound tyres, which I imagine have got to be starting to go off at this point. But we'll see if we can close him down any. I'm struggling quite a lot with the traction still. You can see on the exit of every corner, just putting the power down a little bit early. Maybe I need to up the sensitivity of the throttle a little bit, because at the moment I'm still putting the power down a little bit too early, but we'll see what we're capable of doing. And now, as we move on to lap 9, you can see that Fittipaldi is starting to close me down again. Albon's actually made his way past De Vries as well, and that is De Vries into last place in this race. as a result of that. But now as we come around turn 12 and into turn 13, yeah, no warning, the engine has given up. They didn't tell me anything. They didn't give me a warning. They didn't give me any kind of indication. He's not even saying anything now, so I don't know if that's a new feature in this game or maybe a bug that they've they've broken one of the voice lines or something like that. But yeah, absolutely no warning. That is the end of my race. And if you are surprised by that, then let me tell you, you are not the only one, because yeah, I really was not expecting that to happen on my first race in F1 23. We don't even make it 10 laps. We become the second retirement of the series, and yeah, that is not what I was hoping would happen. But unfortunately, yes, that is gonna be it.
Then, after a quality performance, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
So despite Leclerc's pole position, unfortunately Verstappen was inevitable, and actually Leclerc ended up losing out a position to his teammate Carlos Sainz as well. So I wonder if there was some strategy shenanigans going on there down at Ferrari. You wouldn't be surprised to hear if there were, I'm sure. But yes, that is Red Bull taking the first victory of the season. You can really see the upgraded graphics in full effect here. But yeah, an unfortunate retirement for us in our first race of the season. So yes, I am disappointed with that.
Max Verstappen now leads the Drivers' Championship. Some amazing talent out there on track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
It's time to check out the Constructors' standings. Red Bull take over as championship leaders. Well, that certainly was an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
So despite the fact that that Fittipaldi was struggling a little bit at the beginning of that race, he did manage to get ahead of De Vries and Sargent and make his way into P18. So not a terrible performance from him. Pretty happy with how he's done. Unfortunately for us, not quite what I would want from the beginning of the season. But fortunately, up next, we have none other than Saudi Arabia. And that is one of my favourite tracks on the calendar, one I typically do quite well at. And so I'm hoping we will be able to continue that performance streak from previous games gone by in this year's game as well. But that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe. This is the beginning of a very long journey, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.